Modesty. Cover up. Be classy. Stop dressing for the male gaze. Women only look good for the male gaze. As a Christian woman, as a classy woman, as a religious woman, as a good woman, you should wear, you shouldn't wear. Hi guys, welcome back to Clare's Kingdom, where we talk facts, walk fierce, and remind the world that well-behaved women rarely make history. So today, as you can see by the title, we are here with a controversial one. The new wave of modesty. Is it an attack on feminine power, or is it a form of women empowerment, as some may argue? So I'm sure we've seen, especially in the last few months, there's an increase in the movement of being modest, dressing modestly, wearing ball gowns, covering up from head to toe, women policing other women. And if you guys haven't already watched my video about always dress to impress, I recommend you watch that video where I basically kind of started or open this kind of worms of a topic, where I was talking about how I find it absurd at some of these talking points I've heard online. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that we as women or anyone should walk around indecently or walk around provocatively, but with some of these, especially online coaches, influencers that are pushing for modesty, pushing for a specific look that women should quote unquote adapt, or even using things like religion, guilt to have women present themselves in ways that they may not necessarily want to, or maybe try use issues men have within themselves, whether that's lust, lack of self-control, trying to use that to box women or to put fear women. So anyways, today we're just going to talk about all of it, okay? What are my grievances with the topic of modesty? We're going to start by defining modesty. Okay, so right now in front of me, I have multiple definitions of modesty that I've just pulled up from Google. So the first definition I'm going to read out for you guys. Modesty is the quality of being relatively moderate, limited, or small in amount, rate, or level. And then we have the other definition: behavior, manner, or appearance intended to avoid impropriety or indecency. So synonyms would be simplicity, plainness, lack of pretension, inexpensiveness, lack of extravagance, decorum, decency, discreetness. The fact that these are synonyms of modesty can already show you the red flags when it comes to this topic. But anyways, sobriety, there's even virtue there. Okay, so as you know, if you've been on this channel, I am everything women, empowering women, creating space for women to speak. Like we always say, we speak facts and we walk fierce. And I believe that everyone should be able to express themselves in whatever way they can. Now, me personally, I tend to dress more covered up naturally, or I tend to not want to show myself, and not because of any religious guilt or because anyone said anything. Personally, my mindset is I don't even want to give people the chance. Like, my mentality is, why would I show myself for the free? Like, for the free? But that doesn't necessarily mean I'm gonna now police women that decide to show more or not dress the same way. So I'm sure we've heard online influencers or modesty extremists talk about how the way we dress, especially in the church, you hear talking points like we have to make sure men don't lust over us, or make sure men don't look at us, or make sure married men don't look at us, make sure you're not trying to tempt anyone. And there's just so much emphasis of what women should do or what women shouldn't do, instead of actually targeting the root problem of why men, specific men, have a problem with self-control, lust. Because I'm not talking about extremes, because I know some people are going to think I'm telling people to walk around butt or everything out. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about basic outfits that are being policed. Because if you just type in modesty or modest outfits on TikTok or wherever right now, you're going to see the same sort of outfit, the same kind of like curtain-like dress, or just baggy, just everything just baggy or draped or something like that. It's the same kind of style. And the one thing that I find ironic about this whole movement is the fact that you'll see women that have a whole past, or people with a whole past of dressing indecently or dressing provocatively. And that's not to say people can't change, and that's not to condemn anyone. But for me, it's to say, when we have people that have reformed from those certain lifestyles, I just find it so hypocritical for people to then, those same people, to turn around and try to condemn others, or try to, especially within the Christian community or in the church, try to condemn others for living in ways that they lived or maybe they grew out of. And instead of to respect that everyone may have a process, or instead of to extend the same grace that maybe was given to them or to you, it's just straight to dress up, cover up. And some may even be extreme to say, if you don't, you're going to HELL, or you're going to lead others astray. When in reality, we are all responsible, and we are all accountable to the way we act and the way we attune things, right? And I'm also going to make a video in the future about religion and how religion itself is used to control women. And it's just been so normalized that women have to basically make up, women have to compensate for the weaknesses of men, or the lack of control or lack of respect for men. And it just doesn't sit right with me. And don't get me wrong, this is the internet, right? And life is life. Everyone is free to speak however they want. Like, people can be pro-modesty, they can be anti-modesty, but I think the approach is so important because, like I said, when you hear reformed anti-modest people talking about how basically how much of a sin or how much is a crime to not be dressed up in these long curtain dresses or be, wearing 100 layers, instead of to talk about their own journeys or even try to be relatable to maybe the younger women, or just women in general they may be trying to reach, they can talk about how it benefits them or how their life has personally changed or improved, versus picking apart others or acting self-righteous or acting with no compassion and just hypocrisy. And especially when the arguments are stemmed from the male gaze or men, like why would a man be there? Like, why are we talking about men right now? Like, as soon as I hear that talking point, I'm like, no, because I promise you, men are not talking amongst themselves, oh, we can't wear this because of the women. We don't want to tempt the women. And yes, don't get me wrong, I understand biology and people try to bring the whole argument that men are inclined to be more attracted to women or be more easy or led astray or easy to temptation. But for me, that's not an excuse, because in reality, women dressing indecently was the reason why some men may, for example, jump on them. It doesn't explain how, for instance, we think about Islamic countries around the world, a lot of their attire is literally head to toe cover-ups, and yet those women still get abused, those women still get jumped on, they still get sexually assaulted. So is the question what they wore? And let's not even talk about the underage kids that also get attacked and also get looked at lustfully when they're wearing their kids' clothing, when they're wearing their PJs. And I should say trigger alert because I don't know who's listening to that. My point being is that we need to stop and outgrow that point of where she was asking for it. It was the dress. That's the way someone dresses that provokes animalistic behavior from men. Maybe we should actually question the root of the problem of why these men have been given the passes to be acting animalistic. And another thing I would say, if these men were so out of control when it comes to women, or so incapable of controlling themselves around women that are dressed up nicely or look good, then why are these people in power? Because we all know we live in a patriarchy. We all know we live in a quote-unquote man's world. So if we are basically entrusting our livelihoods to this gender or this group of individuals, but then we say simultaneously that these individuals have low self-control, then it's not adding up. It's not adding up. It's either they're the stronger species and the more, capable species, or they're not. Like, it's just not making sense. And I just think, especially being a grown woman, like as grown women, as grown men and women, why do we still concern ourselves with what others are wearing? Especially online. It's like, why are we policing people? You don't know that person's story. You don't know that person's culture. You don't know that person's likes and dislikes. And I think there's just a lot of preaching of this one size fits all rhetoric, when in reality, some people may be drawn to wear trousers, skirts. Some people may be drawn to wear dresses. Some people may be drawn to wear curtains. Some people may be drawn to wear shorts. We all have different stories, different prerogatives. Like, why are we trying to fit this whole dress modest and it's the same look? And it's like, who do you think, like, who are we doing it for? Because I'm sure we've seen women. I know just go on TikTok, you'll see women who fell into the whole modesty trap, especially when they were in relationships, and then when they got out of the relationship, a switch flipped and they went back to their original dressing, like when they realized the whole quote-unquote modest act was to try please this man. But what kind of life is that? So yeah, I just want to leave you guys with that question. Is this whole modesty thing, is it a choice? Is it better living? Is it a way to encourage women to be good women? Or is it a form of control? Especially because it's modern days, right? I think the way people package it, they want to make it sound like, oh, it's this, I don't know, it's just weird. And maybe it's just the word modesty that I don't like, or modest, because like I said, I like to personally dress very structured. I like structured clothing, tailored clothing. I like my trousers, my pencil skirts. I like to quote unquote cover up, but it's not something that I make a requirement for everyone, if that makes sense. Like, if I met someone who was wearing, I don't know, streetwear, if I met someone who wore a different aesthetic, I'm not going to think, oh wow, like she's a sinner, she's sinning, she's leading the men astray, she's going to take my husband. Like, why do these thoughts come to us? And worst case scenario, if you're around someone or you see content online that makes you uncomfortable, you know you can scroll, right? And if it's a case where your husbands or boyfriends or significant others are looking at women, you know they can look away, right? You know that they have brains, right? I don't know, I just find it crazy that a society, we've come to the point where we're prioritizing men's weaknesses or where they're falling short, with women having to box themselves, hide themselves, cover themselves, not wear makeup, not do nails, cover their hair. Like, if you're doing it for your own personal beliefs or whatnot, that's fine, but it's a different case to push it on a mass scale. I'm gonna leave you guys with that. Is modesty the new way? Is it a new way to give women more power? Or is it an attack, a covert attack on the divine feminine? Comment down below, let me know.